Hey guys, I'm going to wait a few minutes to see, a couple minutes to see who is going to be on today. So let's just wait a couple minutes. Anyways, if y'all are wondering why I'm dressed why is this light over here? Look, these couple of minutes are also for me to fix my stuff because I'm improvising with my time today. And I moved my desk around so y'all get to see all my cool stuff in the background. That makes this more fun. Plus, I get to feel like I'm in an office, like I'm legit now. So, anyway, I'm not seeing anyone on yet. I want to make sure to give people time to get on so that we can start the Sarah show. And just for replays, I'll go ahead and tell y'all what my show is about. Yes, I am dressed as Ace Ventura today because I'm going to be like talking about some different Jim Carrey stuff. We're talking about unmasking, kind of how to do that without doing it the way I did, which was definitely not right. So I have learned some things since then. And yes, I did my eyebrows all funny for effect as well. So, but if you haven't been to my channel before, it's Sarah Upside Down. I'm starting to call it the Sarah Upside Down Show because it's just getting ridiculous. And after recent life events, I just decided, whatever, have fun, be yourself. Let's get goofy and talk about, that's where I was going with that. We are talking about autism, ADHD, different mental health. I got a couple of those going on and just wanting to bring everyone in to that and kind of talking about like how they correlate. So that's what my channel is kind of about. Some of you have been following me for a little bit, some for other reasons, and I'm glad that you have been able to find some help for yourself or loved ones through this platform. Oh, look, there's two people on. Y'all say hi so I know who it is because I cannot multitask at the moment and look at my phone or I'll get distracted because, well, yes, ADHD. Thank you. So, anyways, surprisingly, I did not go and buy these clothes for this show. I am just that eccentric. I love this kind of stuff. Yes, I took a picture to get my license plate with this shirt on like 2 years ago. Hey. And yes, it has license plates on it. So this will tell you about who I actually am. I take a picture with my license plate shirt to get my driver's license. Yes, I cannot talk. Yes, we're going to have a bunch of Jim Carrey stuff today because he is like one of my heroes. I know I don't really have idols, but I have special interests in people, in actors, in movies, in things, in stuff, obviously. Especially these guys. These are my guys, man. These are my homies right here. They're falling off the wall. It's all good. I'll wait a couple extra minutes. And for y'all who watch the replay, just fast forward this because I have no idea what's going on. I'm going to drink more coffee because this party is about to get on. That's the wrong way. So, I forgot all I was doing all of a sudden. So, since we have 3 viewers, I'm going to go ahead and start. Feel free to chat in the chat box, but chat in the chat box, that should be a tongue twister now. Chat in the chat box. When you have a moment or if something pops out to you, I will try to answer back. But also if I do that, I might forget what I'm doing. And so, it's a hit or miss. We'll see what happens. Thank y'all for coming today. Hope y'all enjoy the show. So today we're talking about being the tortoise and not the hare. I had to think about my words there for a second. And that has to do with unmasking. So before, if you listen to my videos, you know, I talked about my story with masking, like what that kind of was. If you want to go back, I can put the link below because I don't know how to do all that cool pop-up stuff yet where you put it on the screen and this is live. So whatever, lower expectations. But I'll put that down there. You can kind of hear my story, all that mess. And this is sort of what you start to do whenever you're learning to kind of take off these like personalities, these masks, this chameleon-like behavior stuff that just sort of attaches to us forever and we cannot seem to get rid of it. And also I tend to like take identities from like people that are on screen, and I didn't realize that all my flirting and whatever that I learned was from Ace Ventura, and I could see where that maybe went wrong in my life. Because like I got this whole you're a pretty girl and somewhat attractive, but like then this crap happens, you know. I mean, you know, what do you do? So look, I already lost someone, I scared them off. But masking, hold on, got my like screen over here. Stupid mouse. If I could figure out where it's at. Oh, other direction. Sorry, guys. I switched my computer screens around, so my extra screen is in a different place, and the mouse is being a jerk. So I'm just going to do a brief description on what masking is. And if someone new pops into the chat, just let me know who you are so I make sure to address you and think of a joke real quick. So masking is being diagnosed as autistic is particularly difficult. And a lot of this time, this applies to women a lot. And that's not to like gender separate or specify or whatever. It's just like they technically see us as that if you identify or not with a different thing. And so anyways, on one of the websites for advice on this, they kind of you know bring up women a lot, whatever, blah blah blah. But it says here that this woman spent 15 years receiving support from mental health services, and this is on the NAS Autism UK website. And nobody ever questioned whether I might be autistic. I have developed a very effective mask. Agreed, agreed, agreed. Masking is extremely common in autistic women and girls, but can also be in young boys and men as well. And she noticed her daughter was now has the diagnosis and was masking from a really young age. And I've been told that my son can't do this, even though he has a lot of quote unquote female autistic traits. And so for him, it's actually been a pretty complicated thing, but that's a story for another day. She says she also started masking as a child using characters for film and television who I would copy because they seem to be better at coping with social situations than me. This is what happened. Like, obviously I did the same thing, so I get that. Masking is effective for hiding autism or autistic traits, and long-term masking is not a helpful strategy. Masking is exhausting, causing low self-esteem, increased emotional overload, anxiety, and meltdowns. Check, 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 check. Raise your hand if you get that. Just do a little hand emoji or something, you know, get it. And so for unmasking, and I won't read like everything on this site because, you know, there's a lot, but I just wanted to give people who don't really quite understand it. Some of us that have, what is going on with my brother? Some of us that have been learning about this for a while, we kind of already know what that means. We already know, like, we've dug deep in that hole. We've gotten lost for a few days and we've come back out, you know, alive and somewhat better that we gained that information. Some people are still learning. So, hey, so unmasking. So, and I really did agree with this because I threw myself into the unmasking, took like 20 masks off and was like, hey, here I am. And here's all this. And I'm autistic and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I did not prepare anybody for that crap show. Total mess. Would not suggest it. Take things slowly. And that's why we're being the tortoise and not the hare, because he won the race. So unmasking. It is too simplistic to ask autistic people to just stop masking. Most people mask subconsciously and may not be aware of who they are and how they want to behave once that mask is removed. So unmasking is a process. I started this process by firstly making an honest list of my genuine likes and dislikes. Ironically, I don't know how us autistics just like do some of these same things. I guess it's just like the logic is like, we need to figure this out. We need to separate things. We need to whatever. But I did the same thing. I also watched a lot of videos. I could have gotten hints from other different people, but I made a like of and dislikes the same way. This meant, she said, out of the should want to do activities such as parties, shopping, and spas, which I've always done because I thought I should. Same, yes. Instead, I embraced my real passions of Legos, board games, and baking. Okay, I can't look at Legos because those things hurt my dang eyes. Like, sensory overload. But like, I totally appreciate the Legos. I get it. But yes, I can definitely say on the board games, the online game, all the things that like I pick on for other stuff. I didn't need to also be called whatever else because I actually love those things. Y'all get it. You get it. It's just too much. So you deny all the things you actually like, whatever. I have also started spending small periods of time trying to instinctively find my autistic self. Right now I'm doing this just at home. Same here. But long-term, I hope to unmask more often. So I stem and I respect my need for silence sometimes. I behave in ways which as a teenager and young adult, society told me were weird, and I'm uncomfortable with it. The more I unmask, the better mental health. Yes, yes, yes. So all of those are true. So I'm just going to scroll down here. So anyway, she goes along with her story, which is, like I said, similar to mine. Sometimes I need to like read other people's stuff and kind of like, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, similar to my story, she started doing that less and less and less until she was able to find what she liked, find what she disliked, and become to be more comfortable in her own skin. So a lot of us wonder why we're always uncomfortable. We don't know why we can't just be honest with people about different things and stuff like that. That's because we've created this whole other persona to be accepted and liked. And it turns out that doesn't really work a lot of the times anyways. So like, there's just not a lot of, I would say, point in it. Unless you're in certain places, it can be more difficult to just like throw all of yourself out. It's just taking it slowly for yourself. And that way others can like slowly understand where you're coming from. And they can kind of understand like that what you were doing before or who you were before or what you liked before is not exactly the same. So, on another site, which is Spectrum News, which I read every so often, I'm just going to read a couple things from here that were helpful for me on camouflaging and the costs of masking, like what it does to you, why it's good to slowly unmask or try to be the same person everywhere, because that's what I'm learning to do. I'm like trying to be the same person wherever I go and not feel, not have self-deprecation jokes or like, just whatever that makes me cope with the differences that I have, I guess, in social environments. I would say that is the most important area and the hardest area to stop masking in, because like they said, it's unconscious. We just do it. We've done it for like 20 years plus. Some people are in their 40s. They've done it even longer. It's a really hard thing to break and to try to cope with. But then you start to figure out like the people that actually care about you and enjoy having you around for that. So the cost that sometimes come with that is exhaustion and let's see. I don't know where I was there. So a lot of people, you know, and people that are, you know, even diagnosed later, but even the ones that were, you know, as young, they might not mask as much because they kind of know like they're autistic or whatever, but sometimes they still need to do it because they still don't feel like they fit in and stuff. So anyway, on here, this other person kind of explains some different strategies and like things that different struggles come with the after effects, which like I said in the other is that, you know, you have anxiety, you have, you know, really, you know, a whole anxiety disorder because your anxiety comes out from trying to push things down so long. And I have extreme anxiety myself. I'm okay with saying that. I am working on it. I went to like 3 other places before this and I had it all planned out and things just get nuts. So whatever. So anyways, he says here, a diagnosis can lead sometimes to women abandoning camouflaging, realizing that we are not broken, and also men and also other genders and whatever. They need to like put that in there because I'm just whatever. But that we're not broken and we simply have a different neurology. Yes, oppositional defiant disorder. Yay, thank you. Yes, I definitely understand the ADD and ODD too. It wouldn't surprise me if you could tap those onto the rest of my list of things. But yeah, we're not broken. We have a different neurology, and from the majority of the population, that there is nothing wrong with me. The way I am means I will not hide who I am to fit in or make neurotypical people more comfortable. Others learn to make camouflaging work for them, mitigating its negative effects. They may use masking techniques when they first make a new connection, but over time become more authentically themselves. Those who feel that camouflaging is within their control can plan to give themselves breaks, from going to the bathroom for a few minutes to leaving for an early event or forging it entirely. I would say that I had a hard time doing any of those things before because I didn't know that I was autistic. So I would say that that was a big switch there because I found out that I was autistic. I realized that I was masking my, you know, entire being basically of who I actually am, not with everyone, but I would say with the majority, even people that I was friends with for a long time. And, you know, it gets to you. So they've done a lot of research on this. You know, of course, a lot of people go undiagnosed for all of these things as well, because we get so good at it. And to be honest, like, and, you know, gender stuff set aside or whatever, I'm not trying to like hurt anybody's feelings on that or anything, because I agree with whatever, all of the above. It's fine. But whenever you're a woman and you walk in and you feel like that this might be it, that you may be autistic or whatever, there is places that like automatically put you over here on this list and don't even like really qualify that to be a possibility. So whether you, you know, claim or whatever to have something else, like that's still how it's going to go for you, because that's how you're seen, and, you know, whatever, that's how the cookie crumbles. It sucks. But I found a way around to keep on fighting, to get past that, and that wasn't the end. So yeah, I got my diagnosis, but if I just stayed the person that I was or whatever from that, then like, what's the point anyways? So found out I was autistic. I already knew about ADHD. So we take steps from there to, you know, start to slowly take that off. you know, it took me time. It took me years. I see some comments on that. I have gotten to where I need to be in that. A lot of people are still struggling with it. A lot of people are asking questions on how you go about doing that, because a lot of people still need help on, you know, figuring out that process. And some self-identify, and that is okay for them. And they can still go through the process of figuring out their true identity, who they actually are, what they actually like, not pushing yourself to go to all these events, not pushing yourself to like basically start to become a codependent person, because that's a whole nother slew of things. Been there, done that. I'm fine with no. Not doing that anymore. But you can learn that like you have boundaries, and none of this stuff comes overnight. I did the whole thing. I took the mask off. I found out I was autistic. I was diagnosed as autistic, whatever, went through the whole process. But it was my decision on how I was going to kind of cope or deal with those things. And I had to really think about who I wanted to be now, you know, because obviously I can't go back to being a 5-year-old before I started masking. But I can make that list of likes and dislikes, and I don't have to do that stuff anymore. I don't have to go to a spa. I don't like people touching my feet. I don't like to be touched really anyways. And so, you know, so I can have a choice. I know my needs now. So when people don't understand why, when you find out about some of these things, or being autistic, or being, you know, neurodiverse or whatever, they don't understand why you really need to know that. And that's because it may not be your whole identity, but it is a lot of it, because that was a part that was missed. So I'm not a puzzle piece. I need to put my puzzle pieces together. Yeah, get a rock on emoji for that. And I need to love and accept like who I am. I'm not trying to get all like mushy or whatever, but really I need to be able to accept me, and I don't need to rush that either. So like give yourself some grace, but also remember that like other people don't understand if they've known you forever a certain way, to take it slow with them. And that's not to like, oh gosh, well now I'm still caring about everybody else and forgetting myself. You know, it's just kind of like giving them understanding, just like you want to be understood and have that acceptance. So, you know, and it's taken, you know, it's taken different classes. It's taken, like I've done codependency classes, just all kinds of different classes. And some of those I took before I got my autism diagnosis and stuff. And that actually is what helped, you know, sort of lead to thinking about me in a healthy way, balancing my relationships. And then finding about being autistic, I was able to just, you know, focus actually for once a little bit on me, and not just everything that needs to be done, or like, you know, whatever everybody wants, like all the time, because it's hard to continue to do that while you're masking, and the masking is draining you. For me, much like other moms or whatever, you know, I stopped being able to mask a lot, like unintentionally, because I ran out of energy. Like I had 2 kids. I don't got time to like, you know, be who everybody wants me to be anymore. It was like, this has just got to happen. I didn't really know why. I didn't understand why that depression came or anything else from creating and being those different people. And I am trying to keep up with the comments. Thank you for all your stuff. I will definitely try to reply. Genocide Flower Artist. That's just such an awesome name. But yes, anyway, I had to realize that the way that I went about it, and that just throwing it all off, that I had expectations that people would just get me. Well, people haven't got me for a long time. I don't know where I was going with that. That was like a bad idea. Like, no, you don't just do that and then like they're supposed to get it or whatever. No. I got it because it was like, I'm the one digging. I'm the one getting the information. Me. And so, of course, I was understanding so many of these things. Well, they weren't. So But I have realized that over time, I have been able to slowly take that off. People have slowly been able to, like, kind of adapt, not just me adapting to everyone else. It turns out autistics are really good at doing that. And, neurotypicals mask too. It's just this extreme of how much we do it and how much more exhausted we get, the after effects of the anxiety and the meltdowns. And I'm not saying I don't have anxiety anymore. I'm not saying I don't mask anymore. It is a process. So do not do what I did and try to race through it like the hare, and just go so fast that, like, you don't really, like, get that acceptance, number one. But, like, you are processing all this stuff so fast. It's just so quick. You're not really able to, like, come to more of a conclusion or to take steps doing it that way. But you take one off at a time, one off at a time. I don't have to do this anymore. You look at that list and look, this is on my not likes list. This is on my like, whatever, blah, blah. I can't talk sometimes, blah, blah, blah. But you take one thing off at a time. I don't want to go to the small anymore. Take it off, burn it in the trash can, whatever you do safely. And just, it's, one at a time. Because I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. This is who I am, blah. And that was, I would say, not beneficial. So one at a time, just take it off of your list. I never liked doing this. I did this for whatever. And so now I don't have to go to the spa anymore, or whatever your thing is. I don't have to get my nails done because, like, that's just what everybody does. I never really cared for it. Like, the stuff that you have to do after to take those things off, no thank you. I just don't want to do it. Sensory stuff, no thank you. Don't want to do it. And that goes with wearing your headphones, being comfortable to wear your headphones. I like to wear my headphones. So I'm going to wear my headphones. And even that is the hardest thing sometimes, because, people be looking at you like, why are you wearing these big headphones? And, like, why are you wearing these all over the place? And you're not going to yell out like, I'm autistic! Get over it! It's going to take time for yourself to adjust. Hey, Ken is here. Well, good. I haven't showed the fun videos yet, so he didn't miss that part. And you probably knew about, like, the other things. So anyway, be the tortoise. Yes. So take it slow. Make your list. I'm going to repeat it, never knew people. Come on. Likes, dislikes. Take one thing off a week. Take one thing off a month. And remember to give yourself grace. If you don't like doing it, if you don't like to get your nails done, if you're a dude and you don't like to do what the dudes are doing, man, I like to do more dude stuff than girl stuff. Whatever. I don't know. Okay. I'm all over the place. But you don't have to do it to fit in. Because where are you in this? Where are you in this? Can anybody answer? Oh, my light's about to fall off. Yeah, I love my headphones. I was talking about headphones and then Ken showed up in ADD moment, whatever. But I wear my headphones now like everywhere I go. And if you want a good cheap pair, these are Impal. They're on Amazon. They fold up like this. I wasn't even going to put them out there today, but they're sitting right there. And I will give them a little tap for that, or whatever, whatever you want to say. They fit in your tiny little backpack. I'm like Dora the Explorer, and I'm like wearing my headphones wherever I go with my backpack, whatever. So wear your headphones, be comfortable with it, but don't rush yourself, because we have negatively thought about ourselves, or I can say about me, for a very long time. And it takes time to think of yourself differently, to think of yourself positively, to not give a what other people think. So you're going to probably do that for a second at first, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but you will get to a point to where you will realize that it's okay. It's okay to wear them. They help you, or whatever else that is. Like these glasses back here, Oh, that just made it. Look at me. So cool. So these help with light. And like, it even is weird sometimes to other people that like, why are these tinted yellow? Because they help me. Because I'm learning to be who I am and to need and have some of my needs met. Okay. So, takes time. I felt like a total freak, but whatever. Didn't we already? So what's the masking really help with in that part? I mean, look at these eyebrows. I just did them so fun just for y'all. Anyways, so I'm going to read a couple of the comments because there's like a lot and I love that. I appreciate it. I'm definitely going to look at all these whenever this is over or whatever. But as well as trigger depression, any kind of mania, if you have any sort of mood disorder, and that's okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of. I wish more people would take their mask off. Yeah, I mean, it definitely applies to mental health as well. But I mean, where do you think we get that from? We get that. And when I bring this video up in a second, you'll kind of see that you can have everything you ever wanted. You can be seen as the funniest person of all time, and you still accumulate different mental health stuff from that. Now, I'm not saying all my mental health is just from masking. I would say that is a huge thing because I have been through different trauma. That doesn't mean you can't be autistic. I'm like, gotta tame me, man. You can still be autistic and have gone through trauma. You might accumulate more, and then you feel the need to mask even more than you would have maybe just. There's just a lot. It's so complex. It is so much more complex than people think, and there is really good psychologists out there, few and far between, that look deeply into someone. They sit with that person more than once, more than 2 hours, and they try to kind of separate those things and really find out the stuff behind that. And yes, I would say that's more difficult if you are an expert masker. It is difficult to be able to see some of the other traits and different things. So just keep that in mind. If you haven't gone through that step, it's hard to go through that process if you're so good at masking. And like they see that if they weren't biased already, that kind of like it makes it a little confusing. I totally get it from that side, but at the same time, I know myself. I know I'm autistic. I know I have ADHD. If that's not relevant, then you're wrong. But yeah, I am going to figure out this dumb mouse. Okay. Which way is it going? I got to go this way. There we go. And I'm going to bring on an extra screen here. Look at me. I'm a tiny Sarah. And I'm gonna show y'all this little slideshow because it's funny. So, I mean, who loves Jim Carrey? He is great. I mean, this guy's like so ADHD and funny and hilarious, and like everything about him is just. I mean, even when he's like over here as the cable guy, like that is terrifying. I mean, he is terrifying as the cable guy, but he's still funny. Like, how does that even work? And then also like the Grinch, like look at his face. That is a little bit terrifying, but he's also hilarious. I mean, my nephew is obsessed with the Grinch. It did not really surprise me. He just has watched this movie like 50,000 times, probably just as much as I have watched Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, like every single one. So I get to like talk about my interests for a second while I'm talking about unmasking. And then, the Riddler, which is still one of my favorites from this. There has been a lot of good Riddlers. Oh, how cute. And I'll tell you in a second why I'm bringing up Jim Carrey if you haven't figured that out already. Like, this dude's amazing. Look at these movies compared to the last one. So you got all these kind of funny characters, whether they're villains or they're like helpful people, or like, getting crapped out of a rhino or whatever. I don't know. A lot of crazy stuff. And then Yes Man, they're all inspirational in some way. And Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, like that movie was so trippy. I'm not sure what was going on at the time. And he could go from playing all these other characters to stuff like this. I mean, this movie, if you have not seen 23, it is a really good movie, a different way of seeing Jim Carrey for sure. And he has a couple of those out there. But he is masking and being in these different characters throughout basically his entire adulthood life. I mean, you know, if you're an actor when you're a teenager or adult, whatever, that's what you do. You know, you're just like, you're becoming these characters, you're playing these different parts, you know. And he is able to go from one drastic, you know, personality that's humorous, hilarious, whatever, to like a very dark character that's obsessed with like solving a case, whatever. I mean, welcome to my world, because that's basically mine. That's probably why I've loved him forever. But, you know, you just don't ever really understand what someone else goes through and how they have tried to cope with this throughout their lives. Even a celebrity, which, even though I'm like not a big buff on celebrities and like what's going on in the now, I definitely appreciate people like him and Robin Williams since like childhood, because they helped me learn to cope positively with comedy. I mean, I definitely picked up my negative things. I would say that's a positive mask that I have, though, is coping with comedy. I know Ken totally gets that. I've heard him say it a couple times, but this is what this guy did. People think they just have it all, whatever. And no, sometimes people are struggling from, you know, even when they're actors, being certain characters. This though, I'm just going to like leave that there for a second, pause that for a second. Yeah. I mean, wow. You know, I would say it's very hard from a young age to even comprehend this quote, because you start to feel the need as really just kids that maybe get bullied, you know, but also really autistics, or just feeling like you're not part of the group. And this can really go for neurotypicals and autistics. I mean, he was speaking to the world in this statement. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible to the world. If that is not true, well, I don't know what is. Because, you know, he wanted everything. And what most people don't know about his life is that he's lost a lot of people. He lost his parents within the same couple of years. I mean, going over his story and reviewing some of the things that, you know, that I just, not like I think about everything Jim Carrey all the time, just like half the time, you know, was that like, I could relate to him on where the comedy came from, like how, you know, and that it's already there, like that you already try to do things for other people. But it was like, I'm accepted as this, you know, I'm accepted as being funny. I'm accepted as like helping, you know, people laugh or the group or whatever. But if like everything about who I truly am, which apparently you lose along years and years and years of being an actor and using that as who you are, that you don't even know who you are. So it does require a lot of deep thinking. I think that Jim Carrey went through this at a different time of his life. Yes, backpacks are magic. And yeah, 23 was a sort of horror movie. I actually really love horror movies and thrillers, but I also love just Jim Carrey, period. But anyway, you know, I'm sure that he thought in these times of his life, because he had it all, that, you know, it's not everything, and that he had to find himself again. And I'll show something in just a minute that I hope will help y'all as much as it has helped me. Yeah. But these things is just to sort of, and I'll go through it again. It's we'll play it just one more time. Not just for me, because I love Jim Carrey. Obviously, I'm dressed as the pet detective today. But it shows, like, look, he looks happy. He's great. He's fine. I me's get to be all these different things, you know. He gets to show all these different personalities. Everybody loves him, or do they actually? Because do they even know who he actually is? I would say that's the danger there. That's the danger there with masking. You know, and yes, he is paid to mask technically, but but what I was saying a second ago, you know, his parents actually died the year I was born, 1991. So I just told y'all my age. May 4th, by the way. So send me some cookies or something, gluten-free. But they both died within that same time. His dad was a comedian, but he gave up his job or his, you know, dream or whatever of doing some of those things. He probably would have been, you know, just as good as Jim Carrey, if not bigger even. And he decided to go into a regular job. So eventually Jim Carrey ended up having to quit school, was making bad grades, and had to quit and make his, he had to help his family. And this was like all the way up until his teens. So he basically had to leave school and help his family work for the, you know, for this entirety of whatever that time. They lived in a car. Yes, Jim Carrey lived in a car with his family. And he was obviously dirt poor at that time. So he didn't get any, you know, he didn't get to where he was because he chose to just take what was the easy way, which seemed to be just to have, like, you know, what his dad wanted to do, which was a conservative job. He decided that he was going to do what his dad did not, and you know, ended up making it by trying. And I can relate to that. I mean, I don't have my parents anymore, and I always have those thoughts of, like, you know, if I take off my mask, if I be who I am, like, I won't be accepted, and I won't be able to ever, you know, live these dreams. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm the Jim Carrey's dad, and my son is amazing, but it's not over. It's not over for me. It's not over for y'all. Like, you know, it's not. We find out, we take some steps, and we accept who we are with all the masks off. But like I said, we got to be the tortoise and not the hare. So I am going to play just a part of a funny video because it's funny. And then I'm going to kind of switch that and play something that's a little inspirational, and we can kind of chat about that for a second. This is his comebacks to, like, you know, whenever people are being rude about things. Oh, here comes.
First, I establish a motive. In this case, the killer saw the size of the bug's dick and became insanely jealous. Then I produced 30 pounds. Mark and his wife.
Oh, this one's funny. Sorry for the language if that's not good for you, but. Okay, that's all I'm going to show of that, because that would be like way too long. But I will definitely post the links for that below. And I'm going to play this video in a second. I've seen it like a couple times. I will definitely post the links to these below as well. These are just things that he has learned throughout his life. I would say that if I could pick someone that I feel like could definitely, like, fall in line with the next Jim Carrey, I would say Michael McCreary. He is an Aspie. He has a great page. He is a comedian. He is like a comedic prodigy. And he writes some books. He's just great. He's funny, but he's being himself. He loved comedy from a young age too, and he decided, like, this is who he's going to be. This is me. And, you know, just enjoys actually doing that. Not just doing it for everything you get out of it. And this video will kind of help you. I obviously cannot take the credit. It is from the absolute motivation. Like I said, I will post the links. But there is just so much that you know, takes time to understand in unmasking. You know, like the other girl said, and like my story is, don't rush to it. I did. They didn't. Obviously, that was the best route. But remember, in the process, to not be angry with you if you mask again, if your coping comes up, if you just can't be, yourself in that situation at that moment. Maybe your body or your mind has a way of telling you that it's not a safe place. It's not always a horrible thing. But I would say balancing it and taking it slow and really trying to take those steps to figure out, and this isn't like I said in my other videos, I'm going to go on a trip and now I found myself. It's in here. You're in there. And you've always been in there. And you just have to rip yourself out of there and let it breathe. And that anxiety, it won't go away, but it'll settle a little bit because you won't be so anxious about being perfect. Because that's never going to work. Okay? I'm just going to say that. It's never going to work. You're not going to be perfect, but you are going to be good enough. So I'm going to play this video and read y'all's comments while I do that. Look, I found a way to improvise. So, yeah. But anyways, hope y'all enjoy it.
Realize, hey, wait a second, it's so easy to lose Jim Carrey. Who the hell is Jim Carrey?
So you're just passing.
We don't matter. It doesn't make any sense. I'm not looking backwards. Why don't we just... It was more like you're supposed to say, we're important. You're supposed to say, it's all going to be all right. And you're supposed to say that, whatever you dream can come true. And you're supposed to say all those things. I do believe in manifestation, power of that kind of stuff. But I don't believe that any of it matters. This mattering is to me a human construct born out of a need. The same need as you have to have, deities and things like that. And I believe in an energy of God, an energy of, everything is divine. There's no thing that isn't divine. Everything is divine, and I'm that. And it doesn't matter to me what's happening. I'm finding that ultimately the freedom from it is something people are kind of hungry for in a way. They're like, I don't want to be me either. Right. And I go, well, great, because you never have been. I believe that I had to become a famous, idea and get all the stuff that people dream about and accomplish a bunch of things that means, that look like success in order to give up my attachment to those things. It's been part of the evolution of ego is to spend your first half of your life acquiring and adding, thinking you can add to yourself, and it looks great. I mean, it looks great when you got a cool car and you got good, nice clothes, and and you've done something that people admire, but it can never fulfill you. You can never be happy. You know what I mean? It's not where happiness comes from. And I dealt with depression, a few years ago, and people still think, well, he's going through it. You can tell he's depressed. It's not. I have no depression in my life whatsoever. Literally none. I have sadness and joy and elation and satisfaction and gratitude beyond belief, but all of it is weather. It sounds like, well, that's totally fucking threatening, man. I can't not be me. I've built this construct, and it's just ideas. Right. They're just ideas. Mm-hmm. The only thing that separates you from an African American or an African Canadian is an idea. And the weather, the adaptation to the climate, and whatever it is. I don't believe in any of it. And so the feeling of wholeness is a different feeling than meanness. They're all characters that I played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters.
You know, Jim Carrey was a less intentional character, right? Because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character, you know. So it's, you know, I played the guy that was free from concern, so that people who watched me would be free from concern, you know. And then at a certain point, you go like, okay, well, that's great, but you know, it's like. The one thing, like people talk about depression all the time, the difference between depression and sadness is just, you know, from happenstance, whatever happened or didn't happen for you, or, you know, grief or whatever it is. And depression is your body saying, fuck you, I don't want to be this character anymore. I don't want to hold up this avatar that you've created in the world. It's too much for me, you know? And you should think of the word of depressed as deep rest. Deep rest. Your body needs to be depressed. It needs deep rest from the character that you've been trying to play. You know, the great and powerful Oz. I'm the great and powerful Oz. How dare you come near me? You know, kind of thing. And you're just the sweaty guy behind the curtain going. It's an amazing metaphor, you know, in that movie.
Brethren, what up with the fire? You know what I'm going to do about this?
It's a pretty name, though. It really is nice. It means merciful, right? Let me see.
Good afternoon.
So that was emotional. I cried like a little baby this morning. Let me just oh, for a second. Oh, there I am. Hi. So I know it's funny. We're talking about unmasking, and I'm like, I'm gonna dress as Jim Carrey today. But honestly, like watching his videos my entire life, along with Robin Williams, who, you know, there's some sad things about that too. I miss him so much. But the thing that they have in common, I'm like stuttering, is that, you know, yeah, they were rich. Yeah, they were famous, whatever. Obviously, they still are human. They still struggle with depression and pain and different things. And, you know, just hard times. But Jim Carrey, you know, realized that like it wasn't everything, and that like being accepted by everybody and not yourself, there's not healing in that. There's not healing in that. Thank you for the one person that stayed, but it's okay because I accept myself and I love this video and whatever. Ha ha. Anyway, that video almost made me cry again. Because it's just so true. And I know that like some of the things he were talking about like wasn't exactly on the, you know, autistic masking or whatever of I'm like, fuck of things, but and I, you know, I know that some people maybe needed a moment watching that video. I cried like a little baby. I just needed to like send it out to y'all so maybe you could you know, have that inspiration. And sometimes when we're really inspired, a lot of emotions come up. And if you get back on the video and you know, you hear this part, just know that it is okay if you needed to take a moment, because I needed some moments throughout the day after, you know, watching this a couple times. It had been a while since I watched that speech. But yes, in this though, this depression, this anxiety, this pain, this hurt, that is the costs. That is the cost. So you may be depressed that you're not fitting in, even though you're masking, but your masking is causing more and more and more, and you have nothing left. And for those parents out there, moms, dads, whatever, you know, you just don't have that energy to just do that all the time anymore. At least I don't. And I'm straight up gonna admit that right now. Like, I cannot do it anymore. I'm done. And the people that stick around they're the ones meant to be in your life. And it's okay for that group to be small, to be 1, to be 2. But you're going to be loved more by them. And you're going to have more strength and build up and motivation from each other. It doesn't take a whole group of people, an audience, to really have that acceptance. And this isn't like one of those things where it's just like, just think about you and run off and do your own thing and like, you know, forget everybody else. It's not like that, you know. And I'll tell you what, just to put some more realness out there on the table. Look at my bangs. You know, whatever. I can be goofy and serious at the same time. Because, you know, you just, when you stop masking stuff, just, it's crazy. And I need a drink of coffee. Yuck, that's cold. But anyway, there is going to be people that do not agree with who you are. Okay. And I'm just going to bounce my bangs around a little bit more to tell you that. There are going to be people that don't agree with who you are. When you stop masking, it's maybe going to confuse them, even if you do it slowly. Just try your best not to have a whole lot of expectations or zero, because if people come around, it'll be even better because you didn't put all these expectations for everyone around you to get it. I know that there is autistics out there that, you know, go through really negative experiences when they stop masking. That might happen anyways. But at the same time, it's a lot worse if you're kind of being toxic towards people that don't get it either. It doesn't really make you better. So just trying to let that kind of fall off as best as you can or walk away. That's definitely what I'm learning to do. And not let that get you down. Because there will be people that will get it. It is hard to believe that, but there will be people that get it and that can accept who you are when that person surfaces, and you can accept, you know, that you can accept that without masking, you know, without putting on your eyebrows. I mean, what is even going on here? And like, you know how much time it takes to even do your eyebrows right? Like, no. I personally, and I honestly didn't know that I would bring this up, but whatever. Sometimes the intuition tells you that somebody might need to hear it. And that is another thing that I found out about unmasking. You start to see stuff come to you because you're being you. And then that identity can come too. Part of my path was realizing that, like, you know, I had identity issues because I took on, you know, different, and I'm not talking about like I'm 15 different people or whatever, not that I'm downing that or whatever. It's just, you know, those are your coping mechanisms. And so I, you know, accumulated emotional dysregulation issues from not knowing how to cope with that or not knowing my identity. So being filled with a bunch of frustration and anger and rage and whatever. Because I didn't know who I am, and somehow that's everybody's fault. But it's really not just like that. I mean, it definitely is some people's faults. Whatever. But they are not going to change that for you. They are not going to pick that up for you. They may not understand it at all either. But I have learned ways that I can be me, regulate my emotions better also, and, you know, not take on every identity from the characters that I'm totally obsessed with. I mean, obviously, I do have some similarities with some of them. That's just there. But that it's okay to just be me. I don't have to be the Flash. Even though I'm super fast, I'm not the Flash. Even though I love detective stuff and I find all my family stuff around the house, that doesn't mean I'm Sherlock Holmes, okay? Like, get the picture. I mean, I guess I kind of am a somewhat of a superhero parent. But, yes, I do karate. Oh, that's another thing. Thank you, Ken, for giving me more ideas. They just come all the time. You don't have to do everything the same as everyone else. Like, I do dance. I do karate. I like board games. I like nerdy stuff. I like sporty, like not typical sports, whatever. But like, people think you just have to do one of those. Like, who makes up these rules anyways? This is just ridiculous. I guess it's society. I don't know, America or something. I don't know. Don't ban my channel for saying anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, you don't have to just like one type of thing. You know, and that's the point of discovery. It's not like finding yourself, but sometimes when you're starting over, you find different stuff that you like, or you realize, like, even though I love art, even though I like doing crafty things, the ways that I was doing it before is not necessarily, you know, the side of things that I'm really good at. And it's okay to drop that or try it out and then be like, I thought it was going to be great, but no, not really. And so, like, I'm going to try something else. Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself, and don't give up on the things that you enjoy, you know, or not, or don't enjoy. Like, you go to a class at a gym or something, and I'll like try like 5 out, and I'm like, no. Well, guess what? Everybody's doing it. And what is your point here? I don't care. Whatever. You know, that was my mindfulness book. Probably a little not good to do though. Anyway, but like, you don't have to do it. Or like, if everybody's saying, like, you know, we're all going here, if that is a place that you get sensory overload in, well, guess what? Accepting something that is not good is still going to what? Somebody answer me there. Not good for you, and you do it anyways. What are you going to end up doing? Yeah, have a fit, have a meltdown. And if you don't do those from the overload and you need to cope, what are you going to do? You're going to mask. You're going to put a mask on. Why didn't I not figure these things out before? Well, I didn't know I was autistic, and there's a lot of other stuff, but whatever. You are going to have a reaction because your body is telling you you should have said no, and saying no is okay. It is okay to say no. It's all right. We don't have to say yes. We have to play the tape all the way through. And sometimes I'm impulsive and I just say yes. And I'm like, why did I do that? And then whatever. I end up having a meltdown after I go to the thing and, you know, whatever. It's okay to say no. And it's okay to try things out and not be into it, not be good at it, maybe, whatever. And if you're not good at it and it is something you really like, you keep trying it anyways. Like I'm doing with karate. It just pisses me off sometimes. And I'm like I just want to do it. And that's the ADD thing for sure. That's definitely on the ADD side of stuff. For me anyways, is that like I join stuff. I just want to be good right then. I'm like, superpowers, woo. And then like I mess up. I get down on myself and I don't continue. But if it's something you really like, don't let yourself do that. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to say no. It's all good. All good. And if people don't get that, or they think you're being a cold robot, or they think you're being a jerk, don't take that on. Don't take it on. Don't put that mask that somebody else gives you on, because it's not yours. And you don't have to take it. You just be you. Whatever. I know that sounds all like nonchalant, whatever. But, you know, man, I can't slow my roll. I had like coffee before this because I was trying to stay up and I went to like 3 different events and whatever. I'm not a workaholic. See, I don't have to take that. But, you know, just give yourself grace and some acceptance, because another thing that I've learned, especially after just having autism awareness, which people want to call acceptance and whatever, and all that's great. That's all fun. I guess I am like a walking contradiction. I just agree with everything, or maybe just, you know, it's a lot of things that I don't disagree with. It's confusing. Anyhow, you can't have acceptance if you don't accept yourself. I wish more people would have stayed on for that, because that was like, boom, truth bomb, bro. You can't have acceptance or other people accept you if you don't like you, if you don't know you, if you don't even know nothing who is and whoville, okay? You can't. Yes, I just dropped a dang Grinch thing right there in a serious moment. But you can't. How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that? it's not. So whenever we have this like awareness, it's like, okay, people do need to take the time to look up stuff and really care and give a crap. But even if they do all that and we're mad at ourselves and who we are, and we're not satisfied because we've just, created all these masks and stuff, or whatever, and we're not willing to dig underneath and do the work and stuff to accept who we are, then it's really hard for someone else to. I'm just gonna put that down. Last time. Donuts. Can you send me donuts for my birthday? It's coming up. Since I'm adopted by Ken now, if anybody didn't know, even though we haven't met in person, I'll be signing the papers next week. So I don't think he knows what he signed up for. I mean, look at this mess. But yes, but I accept it all. I accept this. I accept when I'm angry. I accept myself having a meltdown. I mean, because like it's either that or just like that shame and guilt or whatever. And that's not really going to work. That doesn't mean I'm excusing myself for doing those things, but I'm accepting that it doesn't always go smoothly. And now all I can think about is donuts. Good job, Ken. Good job, dude. Just great. This is great. And Homer Simpson. I don't know, because that's just donuts and Homer. And I just obviously, my personality is, and thoughts of what family should be is all built on TV, I guess, and those characters. So, whatever. We have to figure that out. Guys, with the donuts, look, we're trying to have serious moments about acceptance or whatever, and y'all keep on talking about donuts. And I know that this replay is going to be whack because they have no idea what y'all are doing over there. Like, that's not even going to be on it. And so, like, I just get to look like a straight up nut. Whatever. What's new? So, man, I really miss these glasses. See, I forget that I need things and, whatever, until I do a random video. And then I'm like, they are so helpful. So yes, I know this was a lot. I'm going to be like super burnt out. I will meet y'all again next Wednesday because I am being focuser. That's not a word, but I'm going to be a focuser, and I'm going to focus on making a video on Wednesdays at 1:00. They won't all be this long. I was trying to give people extra time to get in because I knew this video was going to be a fun one to kind of interact and stuff with, or at least y'all could be ridiculous in the chat and like send like 50 donuts like Ken is doing, and coffee and donuts. Yeah, you're right. That does sound good. See what I mean? But yes, I will be doing this every Wednesday. That will help other people to know that that is when the video is going to be. And I will still post stuff on there. But yes, I just really hope that Jim's message, that my message, just helped in some sort of way, that you can go through the slow tortoise process of unmasking to be who you were made to be. And remember, that's in here, not out there. So, although, if you want to, like, if you like stuff, that doesn't mean it's like who you are. It's just, something that you like. I just wanted to confirm that because I take things super literally. And so I would have probably like picked up that wrong. So in case anybody else is like me in the literal thinking way, there you go. Oh, nobody else wants to put donut comments? Did Ken take all the donuts? So I am good. Stupid screen, stuff pops up while you're trying to do this. Very annoying. Ha ha ha. I'm going to play one more video just to end it out. You can choose to watch or not. I would suggest to, if you want another really great motivational thing to kind of help you throughout your day, throughout your life. One day I would like to be up to this level, and just like Jim Carrey, not for fame. I just want to show the world that we're not broken. and that we are still capable of things, that we can still be ourselves, and well, you know, not completely hate life in the process, you know. So so if I can figure out how to get on this other screen again, I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to bid y'all a good day. So yes, have a great week. Enjoy the video, and love you guys.
Is going to be a player in your life. But you get to decide how much. You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here, and the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear. My father could have been a great comedian, but he didn't believe that that was possible for him. And so he made a conservative choice. Instead, he got a safe job as an accountant. And when I was 12 years old, he was let go from that safe job. And our family had to do whatever we could to survive. I learned many great lessons from my father, not the least of which was that you can fail at what you don't want. So you might as well take a chance on doing what you love. When I was about 28, after a decade as a professional comedian, I realized one night in LA that the purpose of my life had always been to free people from concern, just like my dad. What's yours? How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. As someone who's done what you're about to go and do, I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. Everything you gain in life will rot and fall apart, and all that will be left of you is what was in your heart. The only one I hadn't freed was myself, and that's when my search for identity deepened.
Bam.
I wondered who I'd be without my fame. Who would I be if I said things that people didn't want to hear? Or if I defied their expectations of me? What if I showed up to the party without my Mardi Gras mask and refused to flash my breasts for a handful of beads? You guys are so ahead of the game. You already know who you are. And that peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise, even beyond effort itself. You can join the game, fight the wars, play with form all you want, but to find real peace, you have to let the armor go.
Let it go. Just let it go.
Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. We're not the avatars we create. We're not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting, but not truly compelling. I've often said that I wish people could realize all their dreams and wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion. Like many of you, I was concerned about going out into the world and doing something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. My soul is not contained within the limits of my body. My body is contained within the limitlessness of my soul. Once that button is functioning in your life, there's no story that the mind can create that will be as compelling. The imagination is always manufacturing scenarios, both good and bad, and the ego tries to keep you trapped in the multiplex of the mind. And if you listen to it, there will always be someone who is doing better than you. No matter what you gain, ego will not let you rest. It will tell you that you cannot stop until you've left an indelible mark on the earth, until you've achieved immortality. How tricky is this ego? that it would tempt us with the promise of something we already possess. As far as I can tell, it's just about letting the universe know what you want and working toward it while letting go of how it comes to pass. Your job is not to figure out how it's going to happen for you, but to open the door in your head. And when the door opens in real life, just walk through it. There's always doors opening. They keep opening. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I really don't know if that's true. I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun. Oh, and why not take a chance on faith as well? I don't believe in hope. Hope is a beggar. Hope walks through the fire and faith leaps over it. You are ready and able to do beautiful things in this world. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have two choices: love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart.
Y'all have a great day. I'm gonna go cry like a baby for a second and then realize that I'm awesome. But yes, so are you guys. So enjoy your week. See y'all later.